Hi, Pisces Sun, Moon, and Risings. Welcome to your July 2022 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering the major transits for the month ahead using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign first and foremost, because it will be the most accurate for you overall, generally speaking. Having said that, the sun sign horoscope will tell you more about your life goals and your career, whereas the moon sign horoscope will pertain to your family life, your home and property circumstances, as well as your emotional health and well-being. So let's begin with the first transit. On the 2nd of July, Mars in Aries in your second house is going to make a square to Pluto in Capricorn in your 11th house, and that will be at 27 degrees. It might be worth looking back at what was going on for you around the first week of March, because back then we saw Mars and Pluto form a conjunction at 27 degrees Capricorn. So this is the opening square. It is a continuation from that time, and you may be seeing similar themes cropping up around the first week of July. So this is an uncomfortable energy for everyone, because Pluto can represent some sort of deep emotional disturbance, and Mars can lead to frustration when it is squaring Pluto. So if we look at the 11th house and the second house and what they represent, this will give us an idea of what you as a Pisces may be dealing with. The 11th house represents your friends, groups, communities, long-term projects, and it is also connected to your future, so your big dreams and goals and ambitions. The 11th house is a money house in astrology, and it rules over residual income, so passive income, dividends, rents, and royalties. The second house represents your finances in terms of your salary or your earning capacity. The second house is also connected to resources, valuables, possessions, as well as your self-worth and your priorities. So these two planets squaring each other can indicate you experiencing some sort of inner conflict when it comes to being concerned about your future, and this would be the case from a financial perspective especially. Now, you may be worried about what your friends will think of your big goals and dreams that you want to act on. You may be experiencing a clash with your friends or some sort of group or a community that you're involved in, and your values and your priorities. So maybe you're discovering that there's some sort of discrepancy between what you value and what they value. And this could be throwing some questions up when it comes to, do I still want to be friends with this person? Or do I still want to be part of this group or community? And for some of you, you may experience a disagreement with a friend or someone that you are in a group with. On a different level, though, this can see you feeling somewhat controlled by a group, whether this is a friendship group or a community that you're part of. And I'm saying this because Pluto has a very controlling energy when it is misused. And Pluto rules over your 9th house, which rules over your belief system. So maybe there is some sort of burgeoning collective belief within a group or a community that you're part of that you just don't really agree with. And for some of you, this inner conflict that you may be experiencing around the first few days of July could simply be connected to you being worried that you have to choose between money and finances, and your goals for the future and what you want to do with your life. And by the way, we experience Mars and Pluto squares about once every year. Well, twice a year, every couple of years on average. Nevertheless, this is just a few days where you may just be feeling a little bit off or a little bit frustrated. By the time we get to the 5th of July, you'll be over it once Mars enters the sign of Taurus in your third house. Having said that, you may have been prompted to take some kind of action with respect to your financial situation. So, with Mars transiting Taurus in your third house until the 20th of August, this indicates that you will be extremely proactive when it comes to expanding your network. Mars represents taking action, being assertive, and showing initiative. So, whichever house Mars is transiting, this represents where you'll be placing a lot of your energy, a lot of your focus, and this can represent where you're more willing to take risks and try something new. So you may be wanting to connect with someone who is of a different cultural background to you, given that Mars rules over your ninth house, or perhaps you're wanting to connect with someone who has a more elevated social status than you. And, not to put labels on anyone or anything, but this is more like wanting to make connections that you think might be useful in terms of expanding your network further or learning from this person on a different level. You could just be forming a new smaller friendship group, because the third house rules over friends, but in smaller groups. You could be forming a small team in the workplace or to work on some sort of business idea or concept together. On a different note, the third house rules over short trips and journeys, so you could be exploring your local surrounds. And given that Mars rules over the second house, you could be inspired by wanting to know more about a certain time in history, or this could be you wanting to indulge in the five senses. So maybe you're going on a a winery tour, or you're wanting to visit some places to have some kind of foodie experience. Mars rules over your ninth house, so maybe you're visiting museums and galleries and wanting to learn more about other cultures. Now, the third house is connected to education, so you could be enrolling in some sort of short course. You may be wanting to educate yourself about things that are connected to the second house and the ninth house. So this could be finances, the food industry, the travel industry. Maybe you're wanting to become a teacher or like a trainer or an educator, and you could be wanting to learn a new language, learn about other cultures. And for some of you, you could be attending public speaking events or webinars. You could actually be hosting them yourself. And the third house represents or rules over education when it comes to receiving qualifications, diplomas, and like a license of some sort. So you could be enrolling in a course to receive a license or, get a qualification. Now, lastly, with this transit, the third house rules over communications, projects, as well as things like your social media platforms. So this could see you starting a new communications project, and this could be writing an article, starting a blog. You might be starting a new social media account, whether that's a new Instagram page or a YouTube channel, or you could just be writing an essay. On the 13th of July, Venus in Gemini in your fourth house is going to make a trine to Saturn in Aquarius in your 12th house at 24 degrees. So trines are very beneficial, helpful aspects. We love to see them. They carry the energy of Jupiter, so things can be going well, things can be in flow and in harmony for you, especially because Venus is involved here. Now, with Saturn being in your 12th house and Saturn being a planet which represents repetition and stability, this could see you regulating your sleep pattern, okay? Getting into some sort of routine for the night or making sure that you're getting adequate sleep. The same can be said for um, understanding what foundations are required for better emotional stability. And I'm saying this because the fourth house rules over your emotional foundation. So with Saturn representing the repetition of something and being in the 12th house, maybe this is you realizing that in addition to regular sleep or consistent sleep patterns, you need to start doing regular yoga sessions or meditation, or regularly relaxing and unwinding. So, this could be doing things just because they're relaxing to you and not because you're being productive or fulfilling some sort of obligation. I know a lot of you Pisces are pretty good at relaxing. Nevertheless, this can see you having regular sessions with a psychologist, because the 12th house is one of the houses which represents psychology, or this could be regular sessions with some sort of occult healer, or engaging in some sort of regular divinatory practice, even if it's not with another person. This could be you yourself engaging in these practices. Maybe that is pulling a tarot card or an oracle card for yourself every day and journaling about it, just as an example. Another way that you may achieve better emotional stability or a stronger emotional foundation. And, this may sound unusual to some of you, especially if you're Westerners, but this would be honoring those who've passed on. So, honoring the dead and really building a relationship with your ancestors who, have crossed over. This could be done by learning about them with Venus in your fourth house, and the fourth house ruling over your ancestors. And of course, Gemini is to learn something, and it is to acquire new information. This could be to talk to them, even if you don't necessarily hear them talking back. And even if this sounds really wacky to you, although as Pisces I'm sure it doesn't, maybe this is inviting your loved ones on the other side to help you and support you. If you feel really down or really upset by something and your mum has crossed over to the other side, maybe you want to invite her to help you by saying, Mum, I'd love your support with this. Please help me to understand the meaning of this, and so on and so forth. Another way that this transit can play out is that you may be successfully limiting your alcohol or substance usage. And I'm saying this because the 12th house rules over substances, whether that's alcohol, drugs, also pharmaceuticals, medication. Maybe you are trying to drink less or not drink at all, or maybe you're trying to smoke less weed, or just, reduce your intake or cease your intake of drugs or certain medications, whether these are recreational or prescribed by a doctor. I'm not giving any kind of medical advice here. I'm just, going through a few ways that this transit could play out. With the trine to Venus in your fourth house, this could see your home life improving. So whether that's your family, people that you live with, whether that's friends or flatmates, this could simply improve your relationship with your family, even if you don't live with them. And this in itself could lead to more emotional stability for you. For other people, maybe you just don't want to drink in the home, but then when you go out for the weekend, that might be a different story. And lastly, with this transit, you could master the ability to control your instincts to dissociate from reality. So, Saturn is a reality check. It's being grounded in the real world and in the practical world. Saturn in the 12th house is sort of blending that with the hidden and the unseen and the intangible. But the 12th house is also representative of what we do to escape, whether that's drinking or playing video games or scrolling mindlessly on your phone. This can see you curbing any kind of self-sabotaging behavior that you have been exhibiting. And, this can lead you to, I suppose, healing or achieving a sense of peace when it comes to family matters or potentially traumatic events from your childhood, as indicated by Venus in your 4th house. Now, on the 17th/18th of July, depending where you live in the world, Venus is going to enter the sign of Cancer, which means it is transiting your 5th house, and it will be there until the 11th of August. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most positive transit for you Pisceans for this month. Venus transiting the 5th house is always lovely. It happens once a year. I mean, provided it's not making too many negative aspects. In any case, Venus in your 5th house is making a trine to you as a Pisces sun, moon, and ascendant, I should say. So the 5th house is connected to creativity. So this could see you starting a new creative project or engaging in a new hobby or passion, or you could simply be discovering a new hobby that you love or something that you're very passionate about. And because it's Venus, this could be connected to writing, music, painting, drawing, cooking as well, or maybe gardening. And on a different level, the 5th house is connected to parties and events and socializing, and it rules over things like shopping centers and the theater. So this could see you having a very enjoyable 3-week period of socializing with friends. There could be more parties and social events for you to attend than normal. You could make some lovely new friendships at one of these events. And I'm saying that because Venus rules over your 3rd house of friendships on a different level. This could see a new romance beginning. And with Venus ruling over your 3rd house, this could be with a friend, a co-worker, a client. It could be with someone that you go to school with or take a class with, or it could even be a neighbor. And with Venus ruling over your 8th house, this could be some sort of relationship that you want to keep a secret for a while. And for others of you, it could indicate that you're going to start dating, whether that's for the first time or dating again. You could be joining a dating app with the Venus ruling over your 3rd house. And for those of you who are in a relationship already, this can see you having more romantic time together. So you could be going out on dates or for romantic nights out. Your sex life could certainly improve. You could be going on a vacation together or just doing something fun, going on these, if not going on a vacation, maybe it's like some sort of adventure that you're going on. Now, lastly, for Venus transiting your 5th house, this can see some of you falling pregnant. Okay, Venus rules over your 8th house, which is connected to fertility, and it is trining you as a Pisces. So, on a different note, for those of you who have children, you could just be enjoying your relationship with your children or your child and having some sort of lovely experience with them. And if you've been struggling in your relationship with one or more of your children, this can see you resolving some sort of conflict, because Venus is the planet of harmony and peace and relationships. So this can certainly see you improving your relationship with your child. Now, on the 28th/29th of July, depending where you live in the world, Jupiter, which is your ruling planet, is going to station retrograde in the sign of Aries at 8 degrees in your second house. Wherever Jupiter is going, whatever signs it is in, whatever aspects it is making, this impacts you as it is your chart ruler. And that is especially the case for you Pisces ascendants. So always pay attention to what Jupiter is doing. Jupiter has been in Aries in your second house since the 10th of May. And the second house rules over your finances, like I mentioned earlier. And not only does Jupiter rule over your first house, which is you and your physical body, it also rules over your 10th house, which is connected to your career, your reputation, and your public image. So some of you may have been seeing an increase in your finances, or you could have been working to generate a new stream of income, even if that hasn't necessarily come through just yet. Now, with Jupiter being retrograde, this can see you having to work harder to see that same flow of money. And the reason I'm saying this is because whenever any planet is retrograde, it represents needing to put in like 3 times more effort than normal to achieve the desired result. So you could have to work a lot harder to keep your finances at a certain level. Now, for those of you who are in commission-based roles or you work for yourself, that would just apply by you putting in extra time, or you may just have experienced a high when Jupiter first entered the sign of Aries, and now maybe it's plateauing a bit. It doesn't necessarily need to take a nosedive, but maybe you were just seeing a lot of expansion and growth financially, and now it's just sort of like, tapering off. On a different note, you may not be able to physically work to earn the kind of money that you're previously earning. And this is because Jupiter is your ruling planet. So with Jupiter being retrograde, there may be a reason as to why you need to take time off work. And I'm not going to stipulate as to what that would be. I'm not saying, you're going to be unwell. It could just be that you need to take a sabbatical, and this could be for a few months. Jupiter will be retrograde until the 23rd of November. So it could be like a 5-month period of maybe taking time off work or stripping back how much you're working. In any case, by the time Jupiter is direct again, it will be in Pisces because it will have retrograded back into Pisces, into your first house. So honestly, by the time we get to Christmas, Jupiter is going to enter Aries. So that'll be on the 20th of December. And this is when Pisces can experience some sort of huge blessing on themselves, on their health, with respect to the path that they want to be on, or what direction they want to take in life. You may have developed more confidence over this time. And I'm saying that because Jupiter will bring blessings to whichever house it is transiting, but it may take until Jupiter has finished its course through one house to, in hindsight, be able to look back and go, oh, wow, that's the blessing that Jupiter brought to me. So Jupiter will well and truly have finished up in the sign of Pisces by Christmas time. So, you may have had some kind of glow up by then, or just be feeling really amazing by the end of the year. And then once Jupiter re-enters Aries, this is when your income, your finances, your earning capacity can keep going up and up and up, and you can enjoy more material wealth. On a different note, you may have needed to, or you may need to, between the end of July and actually the end of October, while Jupiter is retrograde in Aries, you may need to spend a fair bit of money to invest in your career, in your business or improving your image, whether that's your public image, your professional status, your reputation somehow. With Jupiter ruling over your first house, you could be needing to spend a fair bit of money on investing in yourself or in your physical needs. And on a different note, this can just indicate that you want to learn about money and finances and maybe even manifestation at a much deeper level. And of course, you could have been just focusing on yourself and your priorities. So maybe between, let's say, the middle of May and the end of July, you started to recognize what your needs were, what your, as in material needs, what your values are, how much energy and effort you need to put into yourself. And this could have been at odds with how much energy and effort you're putting into other people or things that are outside of yourself. And now, between, let's say, the end of July and the end of October, maybe you're going to feel quite challenged when it comes to continuing to focus on your needs and your priorities. And by the way, the reason why I'm mentioning the end of October is because that is when Jupiter will re-enter the sign of Pisces. So it will leave your second house for a couple of months towards the end of the year. Now, lastly, for the month, we're going to have one of the most exciting transits for the year, and that is the Uranus, North Node, and Mars conjunction in the sign of Taurus. The North Node and Uranus will be conjunct at 18 degrees, whereas Mars will be conjunct at 17 degrees. So Mars is not quite fully in the mix, but enough for us to want to really still analyze it. Now, Uranus and the North Node only form this conjunction once every 15 to 16 years. So it's a huge deal. And by the way, I will be doing a separate YouTube video on world predictions for this conjunction that will be 1 week from now. So make sure you have subscribed to the channel to watch that live and get notifications. But continuing on with how this will impact you. Well, it's occurring in your third house, and this is a very exciting house to have the conjunction. And I'm saying that because the third house rules over your ideas, it rules over self-made worth, it rules over communications projects. And with Uranus being the higher octave of Mercury, this represents you having a sudden download of information or an epiphany about something that you want to do with respect to a communications project, technology, expanding your network, working in a small team, or perhaps educating yourself on a particular subject or becoming an educator yourself. So let's just run through the energies of Uranus, the North Node, and Mars, and then I'll go through a few different ways that this can play out for you. Uranus is connected to groups, communities, like I said, sudden downloads of information, genius ideas. It is a very innovative planet. It rules over astrology, future, science, air travel, and it has a very eclectic and simply progressive energy. So the North Node in astrology is similar in that it has connections to technology and anything that's artificial, so artificial intelligence. And wherever the North Node transits, it will bring something new to that house. Mars rules over taking action, and it is also a planet which is connected to engineering. So in terms of the chapter that's starting for you, which will span 15 years, this could be you innovating something new, inventing or engineering or creating something new. And this could be done via the mode of writing. You could be developing a new app or a new website, a new invention. You could be starting a new social media platform. And for many of you, you could be looking at how you can improve the world with respect to money, finances, the food industry, and Taurus rules over practical everyday matters. So, in the context of the third house, maybe you're looking at making education easy. Maybe you're developing a new website or an app which is going to help people learn. Maybe it's learning about astrology or history or resources or finances. And for some of you, you could be working on a communications piece, or like I said, inventing something new or starting a new social media platform, which can address the tourism industry. And I'm saying that because Mars rules over the ninth house. So maybe you're looking at tourism, travel, languages, if not second house matters, which are food, valuables, resources, etc. You could be looking at developing new technology or software which will be centered around cryptocurrencies or NFTs. And many of you could be developing some sort of new social media network or app. So you could be building on existing infrastructures and then developing it to create something which is new and very progressive. Ultimately, I would see this conjunction playing out for you as a Piscean as having a sudden and newfound interest in learning something new in a very progressive way, which is connected to technology and finances in some way, shape, or form. So, this could be benefiting you financially, involving the food industry, all the Taurus things. This even could be connected to the five senses as well. So, perfume, skincare, cooking. Maybe you're looking at how to develop technology which is not going to be so harmful on the eyes. On a personal level, this can see you deciding to totally wipe the slate clean with your approach to your own business, what direction you want to take it in. You may be starting a new business, launching it. This is a good time to launch a new business if that's something that you have been wondering about with respect to launch dates. You may be deciding to socialize in a new and innovative way. You could even be meeting friends online, or you could be cleaning out your friendship circle as well. And that could extend to your networking or your client network. So maybe you're becoming more selective in who you do business with, in wanting to make sure that your values align, that you have compatible technologies, and so on and so forth. Lastly, with this transit, this can see you having an enormous perspective shift or mentality shift. And with Uranus ruling over your 12th house, this can see you completely snapping out of self-sabotaging behaviors, snapping out of an irrational fear or an addiction. So this is going to be a huge shift for you, Pisces, especially if you are Pisces ascendants, otherwise known as risings. The ascendant sign horoscope will always be the most accurate for you overall. So if you are not a Pisces ascendant, I implore you to watch your ascendant sign horoscope. And so, Pisces, that's all I have for you for July 2022. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead, and I'll see you in August.